Hello friends, welcome in this session in English Yuvak Bharati Standard 12 section 1st and Astrologer's Day. Welcome in the second part of an Astrologer's Day. Here with the help of this extract we are going to revise on the first part. We know that here we have a story of an astrologer. He was sitting near the path which is there near the town hall park, and here we found out that at the end of the day uh, he met a stranger over there, and the stranger wants to know about his future. He wants to know something mm, about his future, and about something what he was searching for. And that is why there was a discussion, there was a bargaining between them, but still they do not reach at any conclusion. Still the discussion and bargaining is not over yet. So we will move towards the next part of our lesson. Here begins the second part. See, I'm reading the extract which is there from the textbook. If you find my answer satisfactory, will you give me 5 rupees? This is the question raised by the astrologer. No, the man replied, or will you give me 8 annas? 8 annas means 50 paise, 50, half of the rupee. All right, provided you give me twice as much if you are wrong, said the stranger. This pact was accepted. So this was the contract between them. This was the pact between them. This pact was accepted after a little further argument. The astrologer sent up a prayer to heaven as the other lit a cheroot. Cheroot is a word from the regional language. It means a cigar. So the stranger, he lit a cheroot. The astrologer caught a glimpse of his face by the matchlight. There was a pause as cars hooted on the road. There was the noise due to cars, and the noise was said as the hooted sound. The cars hooted on the road. Jutka drivers. Jutka means a hot driven cart is there. This is also one of the words from the regional language. Jutka drivers soared at their horses. Soar means what? They are using rude or offensive language for their horses. So they swore at their horses, and the babble of the crowd, the senseless speech, the noise which is there due to crowd, and the babble of the crowd agitate the semi-darkness of the park. We know that the place has no facility of municipal lights, and there are various lights, but still there is a semi-darkness. The other sat down, sucking his cheroot, puffing out, sat there ruthlessly. The stranger, the man, he sat there without any compassion. He sat over there in a ruthless manner. We come to know that he is an unkind man. So he sat there ruthlessly. The astrologer felt very uncomfortable. After after catching the glimpse of a stranger, our astrologer, he became uncomfortable. He felt very uncomfortable. Here, take your Anna back. I am not used to such challenges. It is late for me today. He made preparations to bundle up. The other held his wrist and said, You can't get out of it now. You dragged me in while I was passing. The astrologer shivered in his grip, and his voice shook and became faint. See, the reason is not given over here, but after catching the glimpse of a stranger, our astrologer, he wants to go home. He is not comfortable over there, and that is why we found that there is a change in his behavior. He shivered and his voice shook and he became faint. What he said, Leave me today, I will speak to you tomorrow. The other thrust his palm in his face and said, Challenge is challenge. Go on. The astrologer proceeded with his throat drying up. There is a woman. We found that the astrologer, he was frightened and he was unable to speak, and that is why his throat was drying up. And in the same condition, he was trying to speak, and what he's saying, there is a woman. So we found that once again he starting with those general statements he used for your everyone. Now, here is the time for an exercise. The astrologer was interacting with the man, and there was a sudden change in his behavior. Find out the difference between his previous and latter behavior with the help of the extract. So, we have an extract over here, and we can easily find out the difference. In the first paragraph, we can see that the astrologer wants 5 rupees for his prediction, and he was bargaining for the money. But later on, when he catches when he catched he caught a glimpse of a man. After that, we found that he was not ready to accept the challenge or continue the challenge. And the example we have that he was shivered, his voice shook, and he became faint, his throat was dried up, and all these examples are there. It shows that after catching the glimpse of the stranger, the astrologer felt something that it is given over there that he felt very uncomfortable and he wanted to leave that place. So there was a sudden change, and the first sentences and the latter sentences easily gave us an idea that there is a sudden change in his behavior. Now we are moving towards the next paragraph. Stop, said the other. I don't want all that. When the astrologer started giving general statement, the stranger said, Stop, said the other. I don't want all that. Shall I succeed in my present search or not? Answer this and go. Otherwise, I will not let you go till you disgorge all your coins. The astrologer muttered a few incantations and replied, We found that still the bargaining is continued, and though the astrologer was frightened, but now he come to know that there is no escape. The man in front of him was not going to left him, so he has to do something that will satisfy the person. So once again the bargaining began, and what the astrologer said, all right, I will speak, but will you give me a rupee if what I say is convincing? Otherwise, I will not open my mouth, and you may do what you like. After a good deal of haggling, the other agreed. The astrologer said, You were left for dead. Am I right? So at last, the debate, what the bargaining is over, and now it is accepted by both that the astrologer will get 1 rupee from that stranger when he found whatever he was saying was convincing for him. So our astrologer started speaking on that. What he said, You were left for dead, am I right? Oh, tell me more. That is what something meaningful, something worthwhile. The astrologer started speaking, and what he said that the man was left for dead, and he once again asked him whether he was right or not, and it was right. That is why the man said yes. Oh, tell me more. A knife has passed through you once. This is the second statement made by the astrologer. Said the astrologer that a knife has passed through you once. And those both these sentences, both these statements given by the astrologer are what we can say worthwhile or having some kind of a point in them, and that is why The stranger was also became interested in whatever the astrologer was saying. Good fellow, he bared his chest to show the scar. There was a scar on his chest having the mark of the knife which was passed through him once, and that is why he bared his chest and showed the scar. Then once again he inquired, what else? So this is the way by which we come to know that the astrologer opened his mouth and he started speaking, which by which the person next to him was found interesting. Now see, here is exercise on grammar. Here we have an exercise on direct and indirect speech. The astrologer said, all right, I will speak, but will you give me a rupee if what I say is convincing? This is a statement, this is a sentence from direct speech, and we have to convert it into indirect speech. So what will be the answer? We found that there is an amalgamation of both of what we can say assertive sentence, and there is also a question. So what will be the answer? See, the astrologer said that it was all right, he would speak. At the same time, he put a condition that the man would give him a rupee if what the astrologer said was convincing. So this can be the answer of this grammar question. So this is what we can say, conversion from direct to indirect speech. Now we are moving towards next. Now see, our astrologer, he had opened his mouth and whatever he was saying was interesting for the person. Now the next paragraph, and then you were pushed into a well nearby in the field, you were left for dead. I should have been dead if some passerby had not chanced to peep into the well, exclaimed the other, overwhelmed by enthusiasm. So we also come to know that the stranger, he was left for dead. He was pushed into the well nearby, and fortunately a passerby, he chanced to peep into the well, and that is how he was saved. And all these things was very overwhelming, what we can say. These are the things which really deluge or submerge our the stranger in our story. He was totally swamped by these statements, and he was very excited with whatever the person is saying. When shall I get at him? He asked. Now we come to know that he was in search of that man who once pushed him into the well. When shall I get at him? He asked, clenched his fist. We know that the stranger, he was in search of that man, and we can also guess that he wants to take revenge. So clenching his fist, and the reply by the astrologer, in the next world, answered the astrologer. The astrologer told him that there is no chance where he can meet him in this world. He died 4 months ago in a far off town. You will never see any more of him. This was the thing which was told by the astrologer, that the man who pushed him into a well was died 4 months ago in a far off town. You will never see any more of him. The other groaned. He cried with despair. The other groaned on hearing. He cried due to despair because now he will not get a chance to take a revenge. The astrologer proceeded, Guru Nayak, you know my name, the other said, taken aback. He was totally shocked that the astrologer was very intelligent and a very knowledgeable person, and with his intuition he can also tell the name of a person sitting in front of him. So he was taken aback. As I know all other things, Guru Nayak, listen carefully to what I have to say. Your village is 2 days' journey to north of this town. Take the next train and be gone. This was the advice given by the astrologer, that go home and do not wander here. I see once again great danger to your life if you go from home. And one more warning is also given by the astrologer, that if you leave your home, if you go away from your home, then there is a great danger once again to your life. He took out a pinch of sacred ash and held it to him. Rub it on your forehead and go home. Never travel southward again, and you will live to 100. He gave a sacred ash which is there with him, and he told him to rub it on his forehead, and also told him, do not travel to southward again. If you do so, then you will live to 100 years. So this was the discussion held between the stranger and the astrologer. Now this is the time to solve an exercise. List out the astonishing things which are told by the astrologer to Guru Nayak. Astonishing things or shocking things, things which made him surprised. So here we have a list of all those things. First of all, he told him that he was left for dead. Then he told him that a knife was passed through him once. The next thing he told him was that he was pushed into the well nearby in the field, and he was left for the dead. All these things are told by him, and the last very important thing is there, that his name was Guru Nayak. So all these things are there, which what we can say, very astonishing things for the stranger, for the Guru Nayak. We are moving to the next paragraph. We have over here, why should I leave home again? The other said reflectively. The other said, the Guru Nayak, the person, he said reflectively, thinking deeply, I was only going away now and then to look for him and to choke out his life if I met him. This is the reason why he left home. He wanted to take revenge, and that is the reason why he left home. He shook his head regretfully, with regret, because now he will not get any chance to take revenge, and that is why he shook his head regretfully. He has escaped my hands. I hope at least he died as he deserved. Yes, said the astrologer. We know that the man, the stranger, the Guru Nayak, he was unkind or cruel man. He wants to take revenge. And see, when he come to know that the man was died, still what he said, that at least he died as he deserved, that he should not have a good kind of a death, or what he should be suffered when he was dying. So yes, the astrologer's reply, we know that he has a working analysis of human nature. So he, what sounds him well, what sounds is good, that was the astrologer was speaking. Yes, said the astrologer, he was crushed under a lorry. So he has a very painful death. It was described by the astrologer that the person who pushed him into the well was crushed under a lorry. The other looked gratified to hear it. He was pleased, he was satisfied to hear it, that the man who once pushed him into the well was crushed under a lorry. The place was deserted by the time the astrologer picked up his articles and put them into the bag. The green shaft was also gone, leaving the place in darkness and silence. The stranger had gone off into the night after giving the astrologer a handful of coins. So now everything was over. The stranger was satisfied with the answer, and now he gone off, and now on that road we can see only darkness and silence was there. It was nearly midnight when the astrologer reached home. His wife was waiting for him at the door and demanded an explanation. Now we can see that the astrologer, he went home very late, and that is why his wife was demanding for an explanation. He flung the coins at her and said, "Count them. One man gave all that." He flung the coin, whatever earning he has from that person, that stranger, or from Guru Nayak. He flung that coins to her, to his wife, and asked her to count them, and also told her that one man gave all that. She counted them, and what was her reply? 12 and a half annas, she said, counting. She was overjoyed. "I can buy some jaggery and coconut tomorrow. The child has been asking for sweets for so many days now. I will prepare some nice stuff for her." So this was what the thought of a lady or the wife of a astrologer. Now she can have enough money to buy jaggery and coconut, so she can prepare some sweets for her daughter, which is asking for sweets. Here we have an exercise. He shook his head regretfully. Use noun form of the underlined word and rewrite the sentence. And the underlined word is regretfully. Regretfully is an adverb. He shook his head regretfully. How he shook his head? Regretfully. So this is an adverb, and we have to use noun form of this word. What is the noun form of this adverb? Regret. So we can rewrite the sentence as he shook his head with regret. Now next paragraph. "The swine has treated me." See the kind of offensive language. We know that what type of a relationship between is there, the astrologer and the stranger. So what he said, "The swine has treated me. He promised me a rupee," said the astrologer. She looked up at him. "You look worried. What is wrong?" So the language used by the astrologer and the way he spoke, um, it shows that something was going on in his mind, and that is why his wife asked him that whether everything is okay, what is wrong. After that, what astrologer said, "Nothing." After dinner, at that time he replied, "Nothing," but after dinner, sitting on the pole, he told her, "Do you know a great load is gone from me today?" After dinner, he started speaking, and he told his wife that a great load was gone from him that day. "I thought I had the blood of a man on my hands all these years." What he thought, that he had killed a man, and that is why the blood of a man was there on his hands. "That was the reason why I ran away from home." That was the reason why he left his village suddenly and settled here and married you. He is alive. The person whom he pushed into the well was alive. She gasped. She took a sudden breath. "You tried to kill him?" "Yes, in our village when I was a silly youngster, we drank, gambled, and quarreled badly one day. Why think of it now?" "Time to sleep," he said, yawning, and stretched himself on the pole. Pole means a string cord. So this was the discussion held between the husband and wife. He shared whatever is there in his mind, and we come to know that the astrologer was the man who pushed Guru Nayak into the well. But now Guru Nayak, he was there, and we come to know that the man was not died. So when he was a silly youngster, he called himself as a silly youngster, and at that time they drank, gambled, and quarreled badly. And in that situation, an accident took place, and that is the reason why the astrologer left his village. So this is all about this lesson. Now we have an exercise on the paragraph. Express in your own words the feelings of the astrologer when he said a great load is gone from him that day. So we have to express in our own words why the feeling was there to the astrologer when he said a great load is gone from him. We know the reason that he think that a man was killed by him. That is the reason. That was the load. And what kind of a state of mind he has when he said a great load is gone from him. Now the answer is, see, when he saw Guru Nayak alive, there is a sense of a relief. There is a sense of relief from being guilty, from being impious. Now he is relieved, he feel relieved. Now he is free from the burden, and there is a sense of emancipation, that he is being pure and pious. Now he has a peace of a mind. So that is why, that is what we can say, that is what his state of mind when he said a great load is gone from him that day. Now this is the time for homework. Solve all the A1 and A2 activities, including 1-2 activities from A3 in brainstorming section on page number 7, 8, 9 and 10. So you have to solve all the activities on page number 7, 8, 9 and 10. Thank you students. We will meet soon in the next lecture.